You might think your kitchen sink can handle just about anything, but there are a few common things people pour down their drains every single day that are quietly destroying their pipes from the inside out. After 3 decades of fixing clogs and replacing damaged plumbing, I can tell you that most of these expensive repairs were completely avoidable. Today we are going over 5 things you should never pour down your drain, and number 5 might surprise you, because most people have no idea it is even a problem. Plus, stick around for a bonus tip at the end that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. The first thing you should never pour down your drain is cooking grease, fats, and oils. Now, I know this one might sound obvious, but you would be amazed how many homeowners still do this every single day without thinking twice. You finish cooking up some bacon on a Saturday morning, and that hot grease is just sitting there in the pan looking like a liquid. So it seems perfectly fine to just rinse it right down the sink with some hot water, right? Well, here is what is actually happening inside your pipes. That grease might be a liquid when it is hot, but the moment it hits the cooler walls of your drain line, it starts to solidify. It clings to the inside of the pipe like a coating. And every time you pour more grease down there, you are adding another layer. Over weeks and months, that buildup gets thicker and thicker, narrowing the opening inside your pipe until water can barely squeeze through. Now add in little bits of food particles, soap residue, and other debris that get caught in that sticky layer, and you have got yourself a full-blown clog forming. Professional plumbers call these fatbergs, and in some city sewer systems, they have found grease blockages the size of small cars. In your home, the result is usually slow draining sinks, foul odors coming up from the drain, and eventually a backup that can flood your kitchen. Getting a professional to hydrojet a grease-clogged line can cost anywhere from $300 to over $1,000. And if the buildup has been there long enough to cause corrosion or pipe damage, you could be looking at several $1,000s in replacement costs. So what should you do instead? Let that grease cool down in the pan. Once it solidifies, scrape it into a container. An old coffee can works great, and toss it in the trash. For smaller amounts of oily residue, wipe the pan out with a paper towel before washing it. It takes about 30 seconds, and it will save you a world of trouble down the road. The second thing you should never pour down your drain is chemical drain cleaners. And this one is a real eye-opener because most people think they are actually helping their pipes when they reach for that bottle of drain cleaner at the hardware store. Products like these are marketed as a quick fix, and sure, they might seem to work in the short term. You pour them down a slow drain, wait a few minutes, and the water starts flowing again. Problem solved, right? Not even close. Here is what those chemical cleaners are actually doing inside your pipes. Most of these products work by creating an intense chemical reaction that generates heat, sometimes reaching temperatures close to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat is what dissolves the clog, but it is also eating away at your pipes. If you have got older metal pipes, the harsh chemicals accelerate corrosion from the inside. And if you have PVC, plastic pipes, that extreme heat can actually soften and warp the pipe walls, weakening the joints and creating spots where leaks will eventually develop. The real kicker is that these products rarely clear the entire clog. They might burn a small channel through the blockage, which is enough to get water flowing again temporarily, but the bulk of the clog is still sitting there. So what happens? The drain slows down again in a few weeks, you pour in more chemicals, and the cycle repeats. Each time, your pipes take more damage. I have seen homes where years of chemical drain cleaner use left the pipes so corroded and brittle that entire sections had to be replaced. We are talking about $2,000 to $5,000 or more in repair costs, all because of a product that costs about $8 a bottle. Instead of chemical cleaners, invest in a simple drain snake or hand crank auger. You can pick one up at any hardware store for around $20 to $30, and it will physically remove the clog without damaging your pipes at all. For kitchen sinks, a good enzyme-based drain maintainer used once a month can help break down organic buildup safely. And if you have got a stubborn clog that you just cannot clear yourself, call a professional. A plumber with a proper drain machine can clear almost any blockage for a fraction of what it would cost to replace damaged pipes. The third thing you should never pour down your drain is coffee grounds. Now, I cannot tell you how many times I have been called out to a home with a badly clogged kitchen drain. And when I ask the homeowner what they have been putting down the sink, they mention coffee grounds like it is the most normal thing in the world. And honestly, I understand why. Coffee grounds look so fine and harmless. You rinse out your French press or dump your coffee filter over the sink. The grounds seem to wash right down with the water, and everything appears to be fine. But here is what is really going on beneath that drain opening. Coffee grounds do not dissolve in water, not even a little bit. Unlike soap or food scraps that might eventually break down, coffee grounds stay intact. When they wash into your drain line, they settle at the bottom of the pipe, especially in any spot where the pipe curves, dips, or connects to another line. Over time, they pack together almost like wet sand. And just like wet sand, once they settle and compact, water has a very hard time pushing through. What makes this even worse is that coffee grounds love to stick to grease. If you have got even a thin film of grease residue on the inside of your pipes, and almost every kitchen drain does, those grounds will cling to it and start building up layer by layer. Before you know it, you have got a dense, sludgy blockage that is incredibly stubborn to clear. A lot of people also assume that running the garbage disposal will take care of the grounds. It will not. The disposal might chop up larger food scraps, but coffee grounds are already tiny. They pass right through the disposal and into your drain line, where the real problem begins. Having a plumber come out to clear a coffee ground, clog typically runs between $150 and $500, depending on how deep the blockage is and how long it has been building up. So instead of rinsing those grounds down the sink, toss them in the trash. Better yet, add them to a compost pile if you have got a garden. Coffee grounds are fantastic for composting, and your plants will thank you. Just keep them out of your pipes. Now, if you're finding this video helpful so far, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps this video reach more homeowners like yourself who would also find this information helpful. All right, let's continue. The fourth thing you should never pour down your drain is flour and starchy foods like pasta, rice, and potatoes. This one catches a lot of people off guard because we tend to think of these as simple, harmless foods. But when it comes to your plumbing, starchy substances are a real nightmare waiting to happen. Let me start with flour, because it is probably the worst offender that nobody talks about. Think about what happens when you mix flour with water. You get a thick, sticky paste. That is essentially what is happening inside your drain pipe when you rinse flour down the sink. Whether you are cleaning off a cutting board after rolling out dough, rinsing a mixing bowl, or washing your hands after breading chicken cutlets, that flour hits the water in your drain and immediately starts turning into a gluey mess. It coats the inside of the pipe and hardens as it dries, creating a layer that grabs onto everything else that comes down the drain. Now, let us talk about pasta and rice. Most people know that pasta and rice expand when they absorb water. What a lot of folks do not realize is that they keep expanding even after you are done cooking them. When you dump leftover pasta or rice down the drain or into the garbage disposal, those starchy pieces continue to soak up moisture inside your pipes. They swell up, press against the pipe walls, and create a blockage that water cannot push through easily. Pasta is especially bad because it gets soft and sticky as it expands, clumping together into a mass that behaves almost like a plug. And potatoes are no better. Potato peels are notorious for causing garbage disposal jams because they are thin and slippery. They slip right past the blades and form a starchy film inside the drain line. Mashed potatoes are even worse since they are basically a thick paste going straight into your pipes. The repair bill for a starch-related clog usually runs between $150 and $600, and if the buildup has had time to harden and compact, it can require professional hydrojetting to fully clear. The fix here is simple. Scrape all pasta, rice, potato peels, and flour residue into the trash or compost bin before washing your dishes. If you have got a strainer basket for your sink drain, use it. They cost just a few dollars, and they catch all of this stuff before it ever reaches your pipes. Trust me, a $2 strainer is a lot cheaper than a $600 plumber visit. Continuing with the final sections now. The fifth and final thing you should never pour down your drain is paint and solvents. And this is the one that surprises most homeowners because a lot of people have been washing paintbrushes and rollers in the sink for years without giving it a second thought. Whether you just finished a weekend project painting the spare bedroom or you are touching up some trim in the hallway, it feels natural to just rinse everything off under the faucet. But what you are sending down that drain is far more damaging than you might realize. Let us start with latex paint, since that is the most common type used in homes today. A lot of people assume that because latex paint is water-based, it is safe to wash down the sink. And in very small amounts with plenty of running water, some municipalities do technically allow it. But here is the problem. Even water-based latex paint contains binders, pigments, and chemical additives that do not break down easily. When you rinse a roller full of paint in the sink, that paint flows into your drain line and starts to coat the inside of the pipe. As it dries, it hardens into a film that builds up over time. After a few painting projects, you can end up with a significant layer of dried paint narrowing your pipes from the inside. Now, oil-based paints and solvents like paint thinner, turpentine, and mineral spirits are a whole different level of problem. These substances are genuinely hazardous. They can eat away at rubber gaskets and seals inside your plumbing connections, causing leaks. They can damage PVC pipe over time. And if you are on a septic system, pouring solvents down the drain can kill the beneficial bacteria that your septic tank relies on to break down waste, which can lead to a full septic system failure costing you $10,000 or more to repair. On top of all the plumbing damage, there is a legal side to this as well. In most states, it is actually illegal to pour paint and solvents down the drain. These chemicals can contaminate the water supply and harm the environment, and municipalities take this seriously. Fines can range from a few $100s to several thousand depending on where you live. So, what is the right way to handle paint cleanup? For latex paint, wipe your brushes and rollers on a newspaper or old rags first to get as much paint off as possible. Then wash them in a bucket of water instead of the sink. Let that bucket sit until the paint settles to the bottom. Pour off the clear water on top into your yard away from storm drains, and throw the dried paint solids in the trash. For oil-based paints and solvents, never pour them down any drain, period. Store used solvents in a sealed container and take them to your local household hazardous waste collection facility. Most communities hold collection events several times a year, and many hardware stores will accept leftover paint as well. A little bit of extra effort in cleanup can protect your pipes, your septic system, your wallet, and the environment. And now for the bonus tip that professional plumbers swear by. If you want to keep your kitchen drain running clean and clear between professional maintenance, here is something simple you can do once a month that works wonders. Boil a full kettle or pot of water. While that is heating up, pour about 1/2 cup of plain baking soda down the drain. Follow it with 1/2 cup of white vinegar. You will hear it fizz and bubble, and that reaction helps loosen up grease and organic residue clinging to the inside of the pipe. Let it work for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then flush everything down with the boiling water. This gentle monthly routine will not replace a professional cleaning if you have got a serious buildup, but it does a fantastic job of preventing problems before they start. It is completely safe for all pipe types. It costs almost nothing, and it takes less than 20 minutes. Sometimes the best plumbing advice is the simplest. Thanks for sticking with me through the entire video. If you found this helpful, give it a like. Subscribe for more DIY plumbing tips, and check out our other videos.